Now let us move to the next question. A rigid massless rod pinned at one end has a mass m attached to its other end. The rod is supported by a linear spring of stiffness k as shown in figure. Then the natural frequency of the system is how much? So here one rod is there which is fixed at one end, pinned at one end. In another end they attached one mass m. So they are giving some disturbance. So it is going to oscillate with certain frequency. That frequency we are going to find out. So for this I am going to follow Newton's method. So according to Newton's method I am going to consider inertia moment is equal to restoring moment, or inertia torque is equal to restoring torque. Inertia moment is equal to restoring moment. For inertia moment I can write I theta double dot. Let us consider it is in clockwise direction. So if it is moving in clockwise direction, the rod will look like this, right? The rod will look like this. Here we fix it with the spring. So this will be the angular displacement. Angular displacement. Theta. Angular displacement theta. Okay. So this is L by 2. I can consider this as x. So x is equal to r theta. Here the radius is L by 2. So theta into L by 2. X is equal to r theta. So instead of r, we can substitute L by 2. So the spring force K x into L by 2. Okay. So spring force K into x into L by 2 is for moment. So force into perpendicular distance. Force into perpendicular distance. So since it will be in opposite direction, anti-clockwise. So action is in clockwise direction. So the spring will try to resist it. So it will be in anti-clockwise direction. Now, so since it is anti-clockwise direction, we have to put negative sign. Minus K, instead of x, I can replace theta into L by 2. So already one L by 2 is there. So L square by 4 into theta. Here I theta double dot is there. So I is the polar moment of inertia or mass moment of inertia. So mass moment of inertia for this attached mass is m into L square plus h square into theta double dot. Theta double dot. Now we can write like this. Theta double dot plus K L square by 4. I can whole divided by m L square plus h square. the coefficient of theta is considered as omega n square. Therefore, omega n is equal to root of kl square by 4m L square plus h square. Kl square by 4m. See the answer. If you see all the answers, we have denominator 2 pi. Okay, which means they are finding it in heads. F is equal to omega n by 2 pi. So our answer 1 by 2 pi root of kl square divided by 4m into L square plus h square. Kl square by 4m. So this is the answer. Now let us move to the next question. Uniaxial tension test is conducted for two different samples prepared with homogeneous isotropic materials. One of the material is brittle, whereas the other is ductile. So assuming that there is no stress concentration at loading points, the failure would initiate where? So here they are taking two samples. First sample is brittle sample, second one is ductile sample. So where the failure will occur for brittle material? So for brittle material, if you do tensile test, it will fail like this. It will fail like this. So the plane of failure will be perpendicular to the loading. Plane of failure is perpendicular to the loading. Here plane of separation will happen. Plane of separation will happen or will occur. If you take one small chalk piece, you apply some amount of force over there. If you apply tensile force, one point of time, the chalk piece will look like this. If you see this surface, it will be more or less flat. Here also it will be flat, so because of plane of separation. So this will happen for brittle material. So let us move to the ductile. If you take aluminum, steel, if you do tensile test, it will go for necking. Necking. Then it will deform like this. It will fail like this. Cup and cone will occur. Sorry. This is necking. So if you see this angle, this will be 45 degree. 45 degree. Here cup and cone failure. Here plane of sliding will occur. Plane of sliding will occur. Similarly, this side also it will be 45 degree. Now we'll move to the options. So XX for brittle, YY for ductile. So this will be the option. XX for brittle, YY for ductile. This will be our option. Let us move to the next question. A single degree of freedom spring mass damper system is designed to ensure that the system returns to its original undisturbed position in minimum possible time without overshooting. If the mass of the system is 10 kg, spring stiffness is 17400 Newton per meter, and the natural frequency is 13.2 radian per second. The coefficient of damping of the system is in Newton second per meter is how much? So here they have given one spring mass damper system. Spring mass damper system. Okay. So here they are giving some disturbance. So after a certain time period, it will come to rest. But in the question, they are mentioning like with minimum possible time duration, it has to come to rest. So in single degree of freedom spring mass system of free vibration, we have seen three conditions. One is under damped condition, then critical damped condition, then last one is over damped condition. So there we have seen this type of graphs, right? For under damped condition, after following certain cycles, it will come to rest. Okay. So for critical damped system, it will come to rest within one shot. It will come to rest like this. Sorry. For critical damped system, it will come to rest with short duration like this. So this is for under damped, this is for critical damped, this is for over damped. Here also it will come to rest in one shot, but the time which is taken is more than that of critical damped. Okay, so in this problem, minimum possible time, so the condition is critical damped condition. Okay, so in critical damped condition, our zeta value, that is damping ratio, is 1. Therefore C is equal to Cc. Cc, there are two formulas. One is 2m omega n or 2 root of mk. 2 root of mk. Any one formula you can use. Okay. So this formula is nothing but a simplification of this one only, because here we will write 2m. So instead of omega n, you will write root of k by m. So if you cancel this, you will get this formula. Okay. So 2 into 10 into 13.2. So here we are getting different answer for these two. First let me simplify and I'll tell you 2 into 10 into 13.2. So 264 is coming here. CC is 264. C is equal to CC because for critical damping condition theta value is 1. So the damping constant is 264 Newton second per meter. This is through this formula. If you use this formula here also, you have to get the same value, but unfortunately we are not getting. I'll tell you the reason. Already I checked it. 2 into root of, here the mass is 10 and the stiffness is 17400. 10 into 17400. Here it is giving 834. 834.27 Newton second per meter. We should not get different values. We have to get the same value. Okay. Then I checked it here. See the natural frequency 13.2. What is the formula for natural frequency? Omega n is equal to root of k by m. K is how much? 17400. Here 10 kg. If you simplify, you have to get 13.2, but you will not get 13.2. That's a mistake. 17400 divided by 10. It is giving 41.71. Omega n is equal to 41.71 radian per second. We have to get 13.2. The given data is wrong. If suppose if you use 100 mass as 100 instead of 10, this value is wrong. If you put 100, you will get omega n is 13.2 radian per second. 13.2 radian per second. So that is the mistake. I don't know how they are going to give the mark, whether they are going to give mark for this answer and this answer, or mark for all. I don't know, but the given data is wrong here. Here 1 0 is missing. If you put 1 0, you will get this 13.2. Okay, then our answer is 264. 2 into 10 into 13.2. 264. I think they will take this one only, because most of the students will take omega n from here directly, but some students may remember this formula, so for them there will be a mistake here. That's it. Now let us move to the next question. Yeah. So here we have two cantilever beams. AB and DC are in contact with each other at their free ends through a roller as shown in figure. Both beams have a square cross section 50 into 50 and the elastic modulus E is equal to 70 gigapascal. If the beam AB is subjected to a uniformly distributed load of 20 kilonewton per meter, then the compressive force experienced by the roller is how much? in kilonewton. Okay, so here I am going to take the first portion, AB portion. First portion, AB portion. I have to find the deflection at the location B. Okay, so for finding deflection at B, I can use two methods. One is double integration method, another one is unit load method. So I will feel unit load method is easy for me. Let us take this as x portion. The limit is 0 to 400. Okay, so the formula is capital M by small m divided by EI into dx. Okay, so let us take this is the x portion. This is W, fluid intensity W I am taking. So here only I require deflection, so I am taking unit value. So capital M is equal to minus W x square by 2. Small m is minus 1 into x. Minus 1 into x. This is x bar. So I can take 1 by EI outside. The remaining is W x square by 2 into x dx. 1 by 2 EI. W also I can take it outside. X cube will be there. So after doing integration, x power 4 by 4. So the deflection at B is W L power 4 by 8 E into I. So if you don't remember this method, you can go for the double integration method. There you need to find y or delta through double integration method. So there you need to substitute the boundary conditions. You will get two constants. So to find those two constants, you have to substitute two boundary conditions. At a fixed end, slope is 0 as well as the deflection is 0. These two boundary conditions are required. So I felt that method somewhat lengthy. So for that reason only I followed this unit load method. Okay, so if we don't have this portion, the beam will deform like this. The beam will deform like this. The beam will deform like this. But here we have another portion to oppose it, to resist it. Okay, now we will take the next portion, another cantilever portion. Here I have to apply some force P to resist the deformation or deflection delta B. Okay, so here I have to apply some force to resist the deflection of this portion. Okay, so now what will be the formula for finding the deflection at C? Deflection at C, let us take this as C and this as D. So deflection at C is PL cube by 3EI. PL cube by 3EI. Okay. Now I can equate delta B is equal to delta C. So delta B is deflection towards downward direction. Delta C is the deflection towards upward direction. So both should be equal. Then only it will be in equilibrium. So that deflection due to UDL must be resisted by the bottom cantilever beam. Okay, so for that reason only we are equating this like this. WL power 4 by 8EI. W is 20, I think, right? 20 kilonewton per mm. So for kilo 10 power 3 will be there. From meter to mm 10 power 3 will be there. So both gets cancelled. So I can take 20 as it is. L power 4. So first portion length is 400. Denominator 8EI is equal to E, length of second portion 250. EL cube by 3EI. EI gets cancelled. Then the simplification. So the P value is 12288 Newton. The question they are asking in kilonewton. So 12 point, how many decimals? 1 decimal. So 12.3 Newton is the answer. 12.3 kilonewton, sorry. 12.3 kilonewton. 12.3 kilonewton force, compressive force will act in the this much compressive force will act in the disc or roller. Then next, a 3x1 signboard is supported by a vertical hollow pole that is fixed to the ground. The pole has a square cross section with outer dimension 250 mm. The yield strength of the pole material is 240 megapascal. To sustain a wind pressure of 7.5 kilopascal, the dimension d of the pole is how much mm? Neglect the effect of transverse shear load due to wind pressure acting on the pole. So you can see this type of structures on the roads. Some sign mark will be there, right? This much kilometer Trichy, this much kilometer Madurai, like that they'll be mentioning. So the same approach, the same type of structure. For example, we have one board like this, which is fixed with one pole. They fixed like this. So due to wind, some pressure is acting on this signboard. Anyway, the wind is going to hit on this pole also, but the question they are mentioning us to neglect it. Okay, so we have to assume the wind force is acting only on the signboard. We have to assume like that. Okay. Now what is the formula for pressure? Pressure is equal to force per area. So on this board, some pressure is acting, that is 7.5 into 10 power 3. 7.5 into 10 power 3 because of kilo. Pascal Newton per meter square is equal to that force I don't know. Area of the signboard is 3 meter into 1 meter. 3 meter into 1 meter. So now our F is 22500. 22500. 22500 Newton. So where this force will act? This force will act at this particular point, at the center point of the plate. Here only that force will act. We are converting it, okay? So at this particular point only it will act. So if you see from the side view, it will look like this. Here we have a signboard. It is acting over here. So at this much distance, so 6 meter distance. At 6 meter distance. So because of this, it will deform like this. It will deform like this. So bending is acting. So the formula for bending stress is sigma is equal to my by I. So bending stress, that bending stress value which I am going to take is 240 megapascal. 240 megapascal. So this will be the yield strength of this material. So if we put all those things, 240 megapascal. So all the remaining dimensions are in mm. So let us convert meter into mm. So I am taking 240 as it is. 240 megapascal is also equal to 240 Newton per mm square. Okay. Now I need to find this moment, force into perpendicular distance. Perpendicular distance is how much? 6 meter. Force is 22500. 22500 is the force into perpendicular distance is 6 meter into y is the cross section 250, inner diameter, sorry, inner size is d. So the y is 250 by 2. 250 by 2. So 125. Distance from the centroidal axis. Distance from the centroidal axis to the topmost layer. This much distance is y. By I. So since it is a hollow, so a power 4 minus a power 4. A is the side. 250 power 4 by 12 minus d power 4 by 12. So here the only unknown is diameter. So now let us simplify the diameter. Sorry, not diameter, another side. 22500. So after simplifying all those things, you will end up with D is equal to 235.24 mm. This will be the answer, 235.24. So they are asking for nearest integer, so 235. So from this 2021 question, there are 12 questions are asked from aircraft structures. So, but this time they are asking, they asked questions only from strength of materials, vibrations, and one question from aircraft structures too. They didn't ask question from theory of elasticity, plane stress, plane strain condition, and Irish stress function. Those concepts they didn't ask this time. Anyhow, some lengthy questions were there in this time. Apart from that, okay. So I thank you all. So you can post your doubts and feedbacks in comment section below.
If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe my channel to encourage me. Thank you.